Hi there, my name is Saria, and I am the current world record holder of River City Ransom Underground Any %. In this video, I'll let you know what to look for in considering this game for your speedrunning marathon, and it can serve as a general information piece for those looking to learn about the game. River City Ransom Underground is a 2017 indie sequel to the NES classic River City Ransom. The sequel was developed by Canadian studio Conatus Creative, which had some of the same staff that went on to create the hit River City Girls games. River City Ransom Underground carries the torch of the original game's unique free exploration RPG beat-em-up gameplay, while featuring a ton of playable characters, a wide range of enemies, bosses, and areas, and, most notably, an all-new fighting system. I'll run you through some things to expect throughout this run, which I believe could make this game a good fit for a speedrunning marathon. This Any % category involves completing the entire story quest on the standard difficulty mode, with plenty of high-intensity and reaction-intensive fights, cutscene skips, exploits, and big time-saving tricks. I'll talk about how marathon-safe this game is shortly, but first, I'd like to express this game's potential to generate viewer interest throughout the run. The game opens with several races against the literal in-game clock, leading into cartoonishly funny time-saving exploits. The middle of the run features a precise but non-punishing cutscene skip, directly into possibly the game's most notorious quest, fetching milk from the grocery store. I'm not kidding, it's infamous for a reason. The milk run also features a striking yet forgiving bit of platforming. Once that's done, the second act builds to a climactic finale featuring a plane shooting at the player through the windows of a corporate building, which can be used hilariously and satisfyingly against the enemies, of course. That all ends with a flashy boss instant kill into a death warp. The game then transitions into a frenetic third and final act, peppered with some aughts internet references via bosses, all capped off with a dramatic and zany final dungeon where all of the runner's precision and resource management are put to the biggest test yet. All that said, this game has moments of risk for large time losses, but it's very donor-friendly. The world record stands at 1 hour, 8 minutes, and 2 seconds, and the majority of no-reset runs should come in around 1 hour and 11 minutes. An absolute disaster run with current strategies shouldn't take any longer than 1 hour and 20 minutes. The most major time losses can be costly, but the majority can be avoided with safety saves, including the scariest and most time-costing element, the day-night cycle, denoted by the clock you see in the top right corner. The day-night cycle is potentially scary because several required events in the first act of the story will only occur at day or night, respectively, and this game has no feature which allows you to skip forward the in-game clock. However, these events just happen to be placed perfectly so that if you simply know where you're going, all of these events can be done in perfect order without having to wait one bit for the game to switch to day or night in order to trigger the events. The leniency for accomplishing this route without running out of time is quite safe, provided you start the beginning sequence of the game playing as Ryan, which saves time in dialogue. That in-game time save carries into the next part of the game. Once the introductory quest is completed, the game jumps to present day, prompting the player to choose a character. This provides an excellent opportunity for a donation incentive. For now, the player does not yet have access to the character who will be used to fly through most of the game, which is the modern version of Ryan. Until then, just about any of the characters provided to us are equivalently speedy in completing the next quest. I tend to choose Provi for this quest, and that's just because I think she's cool. The most important aspect of this quest is only to complete it fast enough to reach the next quest before nighttime, so this is a perfect chance for donors to decide who will be featured for this quest in the actual marathon run. After defeating the daytime boss, there are a few chase-down quests to complete, one of which we can only trigger in the nighttime. Thankfully, that chase is the final one, and the very next required event happens in daytime, so traversing the world and completing the chases will take us safely but smoothly to the beginning of daytime. From that moment forward, the run is totally free from any special requirements of the day-night clock. In my interactions with all of the enemies, some patterns emerge in my fighting. This game employs an infinite combo prevention system, so naturally, you'll see me doing infinite combos whenever I can. I'm able to bypass the prevention system by performing a looping sequence of 4 non-consecutive moves. The older version of Ryan has the best single move for speedrunning this game, his dash kick, which is called the bird kick. Once I acquire the older Ryan, I am able to juggle enemies all the way across the screen by using very exact timings in sequence with the bird kick. By doing this, as well as flexibly adapting to unpredictable enemy behaviors, I can minimize the game's chance to fight back whenever I strike. It's a satisfying and familiar prowl through the modernized yet nostalgic streets of River City. And as it stands, even a slightly adjusted route to collect healing items for safety should very consistently finish in around 80 minutes. All the while, there are tons of amazing opportunities for donations to be read, and there's no telling what sorts of comedic moments this wild game will inflict upon me. Merv Tower and the endgame could result in large setbacks if user error results in late deaths, but some safety saves can also reduce the impact of such disasters. I'll provide a bit more information about that infamous milk quest. The first bit of Act 2 involves visiting the house of Cindy, Ryan's former girlfriend who was kidnapped in the original River City Ransom. As soon as her house is reached, I would be able to hype up the crowd in anticipation of the glory of the quest we are about to embark on. Cindy needs milk, and it's on us to pick it up for her. Upon this cutscene's completion, a milk carton will spawn in one of the previous malls. I will backtrack to that mall, and once I'm there, I must prepare to perform a skip as soon as I pick up a bottle of milk. Once I am carrying the milk, my character's movement will be slowed and restricted. However, with quick tapping, I am able to perform bursts of acceleration which outpace my normal running speed. If I do this very well, I will leave the mall before the characters who just appeared end their dialogue. If I'm successful, this will skip a fight outside of Cindy's house. This is a nice cherry on top of the milk quest, but missing it isn't the end of the world by any means. Only about 20 seconds of time loss in doing the fight instead. The real challenge of the milk quest itself is managing to avoid taking any hits while helplessly carrying our bottle of milk all the way back to Cindy. In this game's original release version, being hit a single time while holding the milk resulted in the bottle breaking and a new bottle having to be picked up all over again. Thankfully, an official game patch nerfed this quest. You can now drop the milk 3 times without penalty. However, when playing a marathon safe route, you can avoid much of that risk entirely by simply putting the milk down in every room that you enter and clearing them of enemies before strolling through without issue. I intend to attempt running straight through every room initially because all of the close calls are very intense to behold, and it's quite likely to still get through unscathed. That said, upon taking a single hit and dropping the milk once, I would likely resort to defeating all the enemies in order to safely avoid having to restart the journey. But up until that point, there is something truly clench-worthy about the player passing the throngs of enemies accosting the player in every single room as the milk is faithfully ferried to Cindy's house. This speedrun is a gauntlet of execution, adaptation, and careful planning on the spot, with some of it being particularly punishing if it goes awry, but even that can usually be worked around with safety saves. There are plenty of stretches of non-stop action, but an equal amount of periods where donations can be read, and the host may sprinkle in announcements and reminders. This run is exploding with tricks, tension, and humor, and I hope that you find that it could have a place in your event. Thank you so much for considering River City Ransom Underground for the marathon. Good luck with the event. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me at any of my included contact mediums. I will now provide a no reset example run that I performed in 2025 for the purposes of this video. Enjoy! What is up, everybody? My name is Saria, and I'm here to show you a speedrun which is full of tension, drama, time-saving tricks, and plenty of cartoonish humor. This game is River City Ransom Underground for the PC by Conatus Creative. This game was made during a tumultuous time for the kunio-kun or River City IP, and I'm really glad the game was able to be made so I can show you today. I really enjoy it. It is a pretty long story mode, but there's so much going on in the speedrun, and I hope you enjoy it. I'm creating this video with the intent to submit it to speedrunning events, so I will be providing lots of moments of free space for donations or announcements to be made. And I'm going to be starting out by switching characters to Ryan, because just like in the original River City Ransom, playing as Ryan saves time in dialogue. People have less to say to Ryan than they do to Alex, and that will be important in the beginning, more so than just for regular time-saving attributes. We're gonna get started here in 3, 2, 1, go! So we're starting off the game near the end of the original River City Ransom, right at River City High School, facing Ivan, one of the endgame bosses of River City Ransom. But unlike in River City Ransom, he is a complete pushover here. He's being a bit weird right now and getting around me and making me look like a fool, but even then,
he cannot really put up much of a fight. He just goes down really quickly. He is the first tutorial boss of this opening tutorial section. And I'm going to do some block dashing here, which I'm going to be doing a lot through the run. So if I alternate between blocking and sliding through my dash, hello pretty face guy, at specific times, then I will move a lot faster than I can just by regularly running. I'm going to clear out a couple of enemies here in order to spawn the next boss. That is something that we're going to be seeing a lot through this game as well. Clearing out enemies in order to spawn required bosses in order to progress through the game. This next boss is Otis, and he is a tutorial boss that requires you to use your special moves in order to deal damage. You see I'm dealing 0 damage unless I use the Dragon Feet there. You also have the special move Stone Hands, but it's way slower than Dragon Feet, so I'm trying to use Dragon Feet exclusively to go as fast as possible. Obviously, this is a speedrun, and we're trying to go as fast as possible at all times, but in this part of the game, we only need to go fast enough in order to make it to a couple of day-night required events. You see the clock in the top right corner there? That is the day-night cycle clock. And in the early parts of this speedrun, there are certain events that we have to get to in daytime, and then afterward in nighttime only, and then right after that in daytime. And then from then on, we are going to be free to go as fast as we want. But for now, we only have to go fast enough to get to the next daytime required event. Here are the Dragon Twins. They're having a bad face day and a bad hair day, and they did a bad job staying together for me. It is possible to keep them completely together there, that I tried to do by executing that dash kick to knock them down, but it's very difficult for them to stay together. One of them just loves to get away and watch as you fight his brother. Not very good teamwork, but that's fine. They did a good job costing me a bit of time. We're gonna fight Simon here, who again, even in this tutorial section, is a pushover compared to the pushover Dragon Twins. No big deal, let's do some push-ups. Not push-ups, pull-ups. I know workouts, I know exercise, I'm a speedrunner. That is the tutorial section done. And now we are heading to the next part of the game where we can choose any character that we want to basically get through what I'm calling the auto-scroller portion of the game. I like to use Provy because I think she's really cool. Basically, you can choose any character that you want, any character you prefer, and that's one of the things I love about this speedrun. And so now we just have a few cutscenes to get through. We have to get into the classroom within 5 minutes. We know exactly where it is, so that's no trouble for us. I'm going to open up the floor for some donations or announcements right now as we get ready to get into the main game loop here. Thank you so much. Okay, so now we've got the plot starting here. Here is Merv, a very powerful man whose beloved was kidnapped. And we are a part of a gang called the Flock, and we are being framed for this. And so from this point on, the entire city is going to be after us. And at the beginning, there are going to be some police officers after us as well. Thankfully, this will not be true after we leave the high school, but our first objective here is to get the heck out of this high school, because now every single character, basically, that we see in all the rooms are going to be mobilized and trying to fight us. Even as we're just running through rooms, they have a chance to knock us down, and that will certainly be happening throughout this run. I will say, for the amount of times that I am knocked down by regular enemies through this run, the amount of times that I run into walls, and the amount of times that a certain thing happens during a very exciting mid-game quest, I will make a $5 donation each time to the charity of this marathon's choice. And so hopefully I won't run into too many walls, hopefully I won't get knocked down by too many enemies as I'm running through rooms. Right now we're going through the sewers just to try to escape here and find a hideout so that we can lay low for a moment. Not for much of a moment, because this is a speedrun and we have to get through as fast as possible. Here's the hideout where we meet Alex and Ryan. And this would be a cutscene, but let's just smack Alex in the face, and that skips the cutscene and allows us to leave, which allows us to head to the next part of the game, which is even more of an auto-scroller part of what I dubbed the auto-scroller part of the game. We cannot leave each of these rooms until we defeat every single enemy in the room, and then Alex and Ryan leave the right side. The right side of the wall is a wall, as you can see, until Alex and Ryan leave, and then we can enter the next part. So this is a sequence of like 5 rooms where we cannot move forward until we defeat every single enemy. And the reason I call this entire part an auto-scroller is because it doesn't really matter how fast we go for now, because we're gonna have to wait to beat a certain boss in the next daytime sequence. So the first boss that we're really trying to get to fast enough right now will appear at the end of this daytime sequence, and then the next required event is in nighttime, and then the next required event after that is in daytime. So that event, if we go too fast, we're gonna have to wait until daytime comes around. So that's why I call this an auto-scroller. And so for now, we're just trying to get to the first required daytime event before it turns nighttime. And this is a pretty basic sequence. I cannot see anything that is happening right now because enemies love to stay behind the vehicles, and whatever, I'll just do my best, and this will be a good moment again for some donations and announcements. Go ahead. Thank you very much. Well, that was a very dramatic final hit by Alex there. So Alex and Ryan have a lot of their, the moves that we know them for throughout the Kunio series. Some dodgeball hits. That was a pretty awesome punching special attack. Unfortunately, Alex and Ryan are much weaker than we are in this part of the game, so we have to do most of the work ourselves. Even though they have some flashy moves, we're the main damage dealers here, so they have to rely on us to do most of their dirty work, especially because their AI makes them just kind of stare at people for a lot of this time. So we have a couple more rooms to get through. I will open up the floor for more donations if you have some. Alright, thank you so much. Oh, thanks for knocking me down, Alex. That was great. But at least that was the last guy, so we're fine. This was the last of the rooms of this sequence that we had to defeat all the enemies in, and now we face a boss, Purplebee, the first boss of this main game loop. And this is a bit of an annoying fight to do when Alex and Ryan are constantly trying to jump on your head the entire time. I don't know why. They just feel the need to just jump and interrupt you this entire time. Purplebee also likes to jump, which ruins your combos. The main damage you're going to be dealing during this part of the game is when you're on the ground. And so everybody's trying to get Purplebee off the ground, which is very, very annoying. But we got through it. Everything's fine. We did everything fast enough so you can see the clock in the top right corner. It's the hour hand is about to switch to the top, which means we have, there it is, an hour of in-game time left in the daytime. That should give us plenty of time to spawn the daytime required boss that we're about to go to next. Thankfully, it's right next to us. So this part of the game can be tight in getting to the daytime required boss in time. We're going to switch to Ryan here, the modern version of Ryan. Thanks for hitting me there. Which we're going to be using for the entire rest of the game. He is the fastest to use for speedrunning because of his main move that I'm going to be using through the entire rest of the game, his dash kick, which is the bird kick. And now we've activated the game's wanted system because I hit the tokens machine and collected the coins that were inside, which is against the law. And so I'm showing off the game's wanted mechanic here. Whenever I'm outdoors, that means that special enemies, the police officers, will be chasing me the entire time. I'll talk more about that once I'm done facing this boss, Calvin. This is a pretty cool boss. So he is inside a super mech, and you have to get him out of this in order to actually deal damage to him, just like this. And I missed picking him up there. Excellent. We're going to be taking him away from the exit, which is going to cost some time and having to make us traverse the entire rest of the room, because I'm going to wait for his coins, because money is important in this run. Let's give him a fist bump. You did a great job there, buddy. Okay, never mind. But that was also a very short example of the infinite combo I'm going to be trying to do throughout this run. We're going to be seeing it a lot more clearly whenever the enemies have more health, and I'll talk about that more later as well. But for now, you see there are cops chasing us because the wanted system is active. And this is a huge problem because we have to, in order to spawn required bosses to progress the game, clear out all the rooms of their enemies first, of their regular enemies. And the cops never ever stop spawning, which means the boss will never spawn as long as the wanted mechanic is active. This is terrible for speedrunning, but thankfully if we enter a hideout, like this one, boom, there goes the wanted mechanic, we're fine. Everything is cool now. So we got some extra money from that tokens machine, and we barely lost any time in getting the wanted mechanic off our backs. So that's great, which is perfectly timed because the next rooms that we have to clear of required enemies is starting right here. We are in this factory area where we are going to be eventually facing Pink Bee on the other side of the factory, but before Pink Bee will appear, we have to clear out every single one of these rooms of all the luchador. And you can clear the rooms of either just beating all of them and collecting their coins, or by letting them run away, like that, or by knocking them into bottomless pits, like so. There he goes. Okay, so all the enemies have been cleared. Some of them were defeated, and some of them ran out of their own accord, and some of them fell out of the stage. And that counts, all of it, as clearing out the enemies. I would like to be able to collect some money as much as I can here in this part of the game because we're going to be buying a lot of items that will strengthen us, which will speed up the game as we deal more damage and then not have to deal as many hits. But, we will take what we can get. If enemies run away, it's fine. If we miss out on a couple of items to buy, it shouldn't be a gigantic deal. You should be able to at least finish this game within a reasonable amount of time, even if you don't have as much power as you'd like. This is the room where we will face Pink Bee. If we've cleared out all the rooms successfully, then he will appear right now. There he is. And so I'm going to just knock him across the room a little bit, and then set up the infinite combo back to the left side, because we're going to be leaving on the left. Boom. So, the infinite combo is something... This game has an infinite combo prevention system. If the game notices that you're trying to hit enemies too many times in the air with the same moves, then they will automatically parry you and then get away. But naturally, this game has an infinite combo workaround, where if you do a combo in the sequence of first move, second move, third move, second move, first move, then you can just get around the infinite... Oh, sorry, it's actually first move, third move, second move, first move, rinse and repeat. I'm sorry. Then you can get around the infinite combo prevention system and do infinite combos to your heart's content. We are now at a luck-based part of the run, of a very luck-based run. Okay, there's a knockdown. There's $5. So this is the subway. We are trying to fast travel across the world to get to where we need to go next, and there will be 3 instances of using the subway in this run. Wow! I could have reacted to that, I guess, but I was paying attention to the coins instead, which I guess that is a lesson to all of you. If you focus too much on money, then you could get knocked down in your life. But there's whenever you enter the subway in order to fast travel, there is a required 30-second sequence that you have to do in order to just survive fighting enemies, and then it will drop you off at your destination. And we have to do a cutscene here. And we can skip this one as well by hitting Ryan. Specifically Ryan. If you hit Alex, it does not work. I don't know why. But if you hit Ryan, then it causes Roxy to have a heart appear above her head, and that means that the cutscene has been detected by the game as complete. And we will take it. This does not work for a lot of the rest of the game, but for some reason in this part of the game it works. So we'll save some time there. We are now in a portion of the game where we have to chase after some of Slick's former henchmen. And a lot of Kunio fans have a problem with this part because Rocco and Tex and Ivan are kind of trivialized by this part, because all you have to do is chase them, hit them once, and then they are done for. And especially Ivan fans, it's like, man, Ivan is one of the primary Kunio characters. Why have you done him like this? But I'm happy to see them in any case. So there's Rocco taken care of. We have to wait for him to give us some information, and then it will be and then the game will detect that this part of the game has been complete. Let's try and fist bump a bird. The bird is not interested. We are not cool enough for the bird. What else is new? So Rocco was telling us that the next person that we have to find is Tex. He doesn't tell us where Tex is, so we just have to go ahead and find him ourselves. Thankfully, I know everywhere where I have to go in this game, and so that means that I can make it work out perfectly on the day-night timer to get to Ivan before it turns daytime. Guess what? Ivan only appears in nighttime. The game does not tell you this. So we have to chase down Rocco and then Tex, and then hightail it back to River City High School before it turns daytime, or else Ivan will not appear. Even though we've done everything that their game requires us to do. Hello, meteorite that will not allow us to get to the next part of the game yet. Let's go this way instead. Even though we've done everything the game required us to do, if it's not nighttime, we can't see Ivan. This is actually the toughest of the chases because these pipes are impossible to enter. Let's see if I can get this. Thank heavens. Okay, this is still really tight. Platforming. Boom. Okay, we got him. That very, very easily could go wrong. If he basically makes it across that first jump, you cannot get him and you have to redo it from the beginning. Which thankfully doesn't take too much time. We can still get to Ivan in nighttime if I miss this once or twice, but it's much better to get it first try so that I don't look like an idiot. So now we have to go across several rooms to get to, several long rooms at that, to get back to the new River City High School location. We can't go back through the sewers to get there like the shortcut that we took to get out of River City High. We have to go the long way. And so it's time for lots of block dashing, and I'll open up the floor for some donations and announcements. Alright, thank you so much. So, Ivan is residing on the roof of River City High at nighttime, being all dramatic and stuff, looking all cool and stuff. And, he is a lot easier to chase down than Tex. But we have to wait for him to leave that into that vent, or else it doesn't count, and we have to go back up to the roof in order to actually chase him. See, there he's done. These used to be a lot tougher in the original version of the game, but they were all nerfed. Everybody moves slower now, which is nice. Let's give him a little noogie before we go on our way. And I ran into a wall. There's a donation for you. Whoops. Hopefully I don't do that too many more times because I don't have a ton of money. Anyway, so I have some time available to me, actually. The day-night clock actually has some leeway. The next thing I have to do is in daytime, and as I said earlier, this is the part where the auto-scroller comes into play, because I went so fast up to this point that I now have to wait until daytime. That gives me time to collect some money. So that's exactly what I'm going to do here. This is a terrible place to fight, actually, because of all the stairs. It's a lot of obstacles. That guy, oh my goodness. So this is going really badly. I'm not, that nerd was like one hit away, and I'm just gonna bail on him because it's getting close to the time that I need to enter this place where I need to clear up all the enemies to spawn Otis, who was our next boss, the guy who only shows up in daytime. And this place will be a good example to show you of something that can happen with enemy spawns that will cost us some time throughout the run. There you go, right there. So you saw those two guys, those new guys that showed up as I was fighting. I call those reinforcements. And that guy's running away, which is fine. Reinforcements can show up basically in the middle of every single regular enemy fight throughout the rest of the game. And if it happens right at the end of when I'm doing the fight that I'm already doing, then it's going to cost me a lot of time, because then I have to spend a lot more time fighting the people that just showed up so I can clear them out so I can spawn the next event. And now we've got Otis, because we waited where he was about to spawn, and then the moment it turned daytime, there he was. And there's the infinite combo. Kick, bird kick, punch, bird kick, kick, rinse and repeat. That is a way to get around the infinite combo prevention system. Bird kicks are amazing. It is a way that you can juggle people endlessly in the air, and it's also just a good way to fight people who are standing up on the ground, if you can't really get them airborne. The bird kick is amazing, highly recommended, and it's quite fun, and it doesn't involve a lot of very intensive button combinations and everything. It's just a lot of quick reactions and good execution. And we're heading into the basement. This is a unique part of the game, and this is a very, very, very difficult room to get into, because we have to bash a door open with a crowbar, and there are going to be enemies after us the entire time. Just kidding, they all ran away. I'll take it. We played baseball with that guy's magic powers for a moment. That was fun. And now we have to clear this room of the warlocks in order to spawn the next boss, Ether, who is a fanboy of Slick, as it turns out. He's going to tell us where to find Slick, because Slick is always the main antagonist of Kunio games, right? Right? We're surely getting toward the end of this game, right? Anyway, let's fight Ether. This is a bit of an awkward room to fight. I'm going to try and get him to the left side of the room, but the stairs are going to kind of get in the way. Let's see if we can get the infinite combo working until we get to the stairs at least. Yeah, that's a bit weird, but he should be almost dead anyway. Okay, that's not too bad. If he had died on the stairs, then his money probably would have fallen off the staircase anyway, which would have forced us to jump off the stairs. Nobody wants to fist bump us! How diabolical. Truly evil that we are facing here. Nobody even wanting to indulge our fist bumps. That is what we're facing here. So, we have some more running to do. We are off to the next subway portion of this game, and because we are no longer beholden to the day-night cycle, with Otis being the last day-night required event that we had to juggle in this run, all of our time losses are completely real now. We are not having to wait for anything. The entire rest of the game, if things go wrong, it is real time loss. So we're just going to try and hightail it as fast as possible to the next place we have to go, and it's going to be all high octane, all from here on out. And the subway, as I started to mention earlier, but there's so much to talk about in this game, the subway is sometimes there immediately just waiting for you, but sometimes you have to wait for it a long time. So imagine a bus, or a train. We got a pretty good cycle with that train, so it showed up very quickly, and we didn't have to wait for the next one to show up very long. It is possible for the subway train to just be waiting there with its doors open the moment you get there. That is the fastest possible subway train, and it loses you the least amount of time, which is none at all. And it is also possible for the subway to be waiting with its doors open, and then right as you go toward it, the doors close, and then you have to wait the maximum amount of time for the next subway train, which is like 20 to 30 seconds. And we are now in the part of the game where all of that time loss matters. And so that is a very, very, very luck-based way to lose a lot of time in this run. Thankfully, we didn't lose very much time with that subway, and so now we're at the old River City High location. We have to go from River City High to River City High, and we've done it! And this is where Slick apparently resides, and so now we have to clear out a sequence of rooms here. This first room is very basic. Wow, that was immensely well done by that guy. So a lot of enemies in this game have basically instantaneous knockdown moves. These guys are no exception. They can just dive at you, and it's even more annoying with these guys because whenever they dive at you and knock you down, they end up on the floor as well, which means you can't really deal damage to them because the main way we deal damage to enemies in this game is when they're on their feet or in the air. So whenever they flop onto their face like that, it's immensely annoying. We're gonna hope they don't do that very often throughout the rest of the run, but so many enemies in this game have instant knockdown attacks. They are so good at getting around you and cutting off your options, and you basically just have to go full guns blazing the entire time and hope they... What is going on? See, like, I tried to be cute and be very mobile there, but they read you. They're so good at reading the player's options and inputs and then acting accordingly and just ruining you. And so I'm just going to use that pit to say, you're all silly, get out of here. And we've got plenty of Abobos, the enemies from Double Dragon fame in this game. He's even the school principal of River City High, which is beautiful. It's the perfect job for him. It's the perfect place where he's going to get his messages across. But there are so many of them in this original River City High location that we have to take out, and it's very nice to have these pits just sitting here so that we can clear out enemies that way. And this makes this a silly and fun part of the game. I really love this part. As long as the enemies actually remain in a place where I can hit them with my dash punch, which is an instant knockdown. But it has an interesting hitbox where Ryan just sort of jerks forward, so you have to be ready for that. And we also have to free teachers this entire way. That also is part of the way you clear these rooms. And this next Abobo, let's see how good he is at avoiding me. Okay, I managed to cut off his options there. He can do basically anything whenever you're going over to get him there. That's the last teacher to free, and now the last Abobo is here. Boom. And get out of here. And now all that's left is Slick. I'm going to stay on the left side of Slick at all costs because he has a move that will immediately make him fall into that pit on the right where you have to chase him and lose a lot of time. It's much faster to just fight him on this small little area here. There's a bit of an infinite combo. Unfortunately, I don't have much room to do it, but this is fine. That's a great Slick fight. Okay, so I didn't even give him a chance to do his move there, which makes him fly across the screen. But I also skipped a ton of dialogue there. You saw I ate 2 items there. I ate 2 cans of drink. Yes, this is a Kunio game, which means you eat absolutely everything. But I consumed 2 items in a row, which in the case of that cutscene, skips a ton of dialogue. Throughout most of the rest of this game, if you try to consume items while a cutscene is happening, then you have to wait even longer because then you have to wait through the item stat text, and then the cutscene will continue. Let's see what this subway does here. Okay, it's not here. But in the case of that cutscene, for whatever reason, you don't get the item dialogue at all, and it skips Slick's dialogue. So it just saves a ton of time, and it's amazing for speedrunning. And so now we got another subway fight here. This is the final subway instance of the game. And as you see, I'm not only facing the enemies to collect their money here, I'm also, unfortunately, slapping around some pedestrians because they have a chance of dropping money as well, which feels really bad. We are basically mugging people, but I need the money. And thank you so much. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh, okay. We have a ways to go until we get to the next part of the game. The meteorite that was blocking that wall in the park that we saw earlier is now gone, so we have access to an entirely new part of the game. On the way, I'm going to stop at a shop and pick up some octopus rolls, and I'm going to eventually consume one of them. So that will increase my current attack stat. So in this game, you have 2 types of stats. You have your current stat value and your maximum stat value. Your maximum stat value is basically the box that your stats that actually do things, your current stats, reside in. And the bigger your maximum stat value is, the bigger the box is, so that you can actually grow the stats that actually affect your character. So the level ups are what increase your maximum stat value. So I'm not just going to buy items that increase my power and consume them right away, because my maximum stat value will not be high enough for them to actually increase my power. So I should be able to consume this first octopus roll and it will increase my attack power now, but I'm going to wait for more level ups before I consume any more items that increase my attack power. And now we have to stop to face enemies in this room and clear them out so that we can face Pink Bee and Purple Bee at the same time in this room. This is a pretty fun fight. We got a late reinforcement there. That's a good example of it costing me time, because I was almost done with fighting the enemies that were already in the room. That guy cost me a little bit of time with a late reinforcement. Hopefully that doesn't happen a bunch throughout the run. I'm just going to go ahead and fight Pink Bee and Purple Bee here, and then go through some more rooms to run through until we get to the next part of the game. I will open up the floor for some donations here. Alright, thank you so much. Here we are in Hazelwood and Rollingwood. This is, this ornately decorated house is Cindy's house. You remember Cindy from River City Ransom, right? Ryan's girlfriend who was kidnapped, who most players probably didn't even realize they could rescue in the top floor of the high school at the end of the game. Here she is, with some guy named William. And she hardly even remembers who Ryan is, and Alex is very happy to see her. I'm sure none of that matters much. Anyway, what really matters here is that we are at the mid-game, which has one of the most infamous quests, if not the most infamous quest, in this entire game. Cindy is going to ask us to get some milk for her because she's allowing us to crash in her house and hide out. The milk quest is ridiculous. And in the original version of the game, it was even more ridiculous. So, you know that entire forest that we just ran through to get here? We have to go all the way back through it. That's not why this quest is ridiculous. We then have to pick up milk from the shopping area that we just bought some octopus rolls from, and then bring it all the way back through the forest, back here. That alone is not why this quest is ridiculous. The reason why this quest is ridiculous is because when you get the milk, it's not in your inventory. You have to physically pick it up as an item and carry it through every single room. And you notice in the forest how you can't even move up and down to get around enemies? If you drop the milk, it's going to be very, 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 very difficult to pick it back up and resume the quest. And enemies are just going to be going and doing things like that every single room. Mostly unreactably, where you're going to be even slower than usual when carrying the milk. This is one of the most climactic parts of the run, everybody. This is where so much of everything comes down to. This is one of the first major parts of the run where it is just a massive gauntlet of luck and some execution. It all starts out with a little cutscene skip as well, and we are almost at the place where we pick up the milk. I hope you're all ready. Let's see. If I drop the milk, I will donate for every single time I drop it. In this version of the game, we can drop it up to 3 times. Let's see if I pick up the milk correctly. Very good. Now, I've got to mash at a specific rhythm here, because once I mash the dash button, it lets me move a bit faster than regular dashing, and good. Okay, so I think I left the room before that cutscene was done. This will skip an entire fight later on, if we get there, because let's go, everybody. The milk quest is on. Let's see if I end up dropping the milk. Okay, this room is usually oh, geez. All right, here we go. Now the places where we can't move up or down. We are completely at the mercy of the enemies. And when I land on the ground, it just makes me a sitting duck for a moment. Here he comes! Look at him go! Okay, he just decided not to. Okay, this room is better because I can jump on these at least. Still one more big, scary room. They're just posing right now. Hi, dear. Bye, dear. Okay. They were nice. Okay, and now for the most intense platforming of the game. This is very precise. Got it. Okay, let's do a bit more of that mashing to get through a little bit faster. And now 2 more rooms where enemies can knock me down, but I can at least move up and down now. Ah! Those new enemies there, the rich kids, they have a very, very, very good ability to knock you down. And that's going to be surely happening throughout the run. Thank you for that, bird. And are we going to do it? We did it! That rich kid tried to follow us into the house, but we slammed the door in his face. The milk quest has been completed with 0 drops. Whew, baby! We did it. Let's go. But that isn't, like, the most climactic part of the run. Oh, no. That is basically the marking point of this run where things start getting really, really intense. It's basically just going to ramp up through here because from this point on in Act 2, the game is going to get harder and harder and harder and harder. And especially as we get toward the end of the game, bosses are going to have a chance to one-shot us on frame 1, and there's nothing we can do. So that was just the milk quest just opens the door into the tension of this speedrun. And now we've got Alexis here, by the way. She is insinuated to be Alex's daughter, with Cindy. Anyway, on to the next part of the game. In case you thought the milk quest was not luck-based enough, now we have this part of the game, the mercenaries segment, where we have some mercenaries we have to fight that are named after Kickstarter backers. I'm gonna eat that octopus roll, and so my attack power is now higher. because I certainly waited for enough level ups. And now we have the first of our mercenary fights here. We have to follow helicopter shadows into these rooms, and then once they enter a certain part, then the mercenaries will drop down and we can do that. That was perfect. And so we got in our inventory, you see there we have dog tags now. But wait, why is this still happening? Well, we don't have to defeat one mercenary. We don't have to defeat 2 mercenaries. We need to get 6 dog tags. So we have to do this 6 times. There's the second one. This is going incredibly well so far. This is immensely luck-based. So it is random in this sequence of, I think, 4 rooms in this part of Hazel Avenue and Rollingwood for this shadow helicopter to appear. Once it appears, you have to chase it through the rooms. You can stand at the entrances of these rooms, just entering rooms over and over and over and over and over again, endlessly, and the helicopters just never appear. We're getting amazing luck so far. Immediately as I say that, I get one of those attacks from the rich kids, and now this is going to be a bit more difficult. It is much better to start these mercenary fights by hitting them out of the air, and so you start the infinite combo, because now the mercenaries are some of the first enemies in this game that can block constantly. And they can make it so you can just never hit them. And that's terrible whenever you have a lot of enemies surrounding you. Whenever this target that you're trying to hit never lets you hit them, and you're dealing no damage to anybody, then you're a sitting duck. So all of our regular fights are about to get very intense from here on out. But this is going so fast. This is already our 4th mercenary. Oh my goodness, that's so many people. They smacked the crap out of a pedestrian, which gave me money. I guess I'll take it, but I feel terrible anyway. Okay, thankfully he taunted, which let me deal some damage. This is not going as well, but thankfully we got through it. We're not taking a ton of damage in this run so far. It is very possible. There's a level up, so I'm going to probably eat this octopus roll soon. I have to anyway. In this part of the game, if you have any items in your inventory when you're trying to collect the all 6 dog tags, if your inventory is full, you will never get through this part of the game. The only way to trigger the next required event is for your inventory to hold all 6 dog tags. So you have to clear your inventory here in order to get through the game. This game has a lot of very special requirements in order to barely be able to progress through the game, and a lot of it is not explicit. A lot of what you have to do in the game, they don't tell you exactly where to go or what to do, which is very Kunio. That's very River City. Honestly, that is on brand, and so I can't really fault it as a Kunio game. This is very, very much a Kunio game, and this game got so much flack because of its being one of the original high-profile Kickstarter games, and just it went through so much development hell, especially with all the IP nonsense. Just misfortune after misfortune after misfortune after misfortune after disaster after disaster after disaster befalling the studio the entire time, and they still somehow barely managed to get this game out and at least release it on Steam. My hats are off to them. And thankfully, some of them were able to go off onto Way Forward and work on more Kunio games through River City Girls. I believe that is every single dog tag collected, by the way. That might be the fastest I've ever done this segment. Unbelievable. I got incredible luck through the mercenary segment there. That was probably better than world record. So one unique thing about doing marathon runs of this game is that up until Otis, most of the time you're going to be tied with world record. So because of basically the auto-scroller aspect of the day-night cycle. So in all marathon runs, oh, nice late reinforcements. That should have spawned the boss, but because those guys spawned last minute, that cost me a lot of time. That makes up for the very good mercenary luck. Thanks for nothing, game. But basically, in marathon runs of this game, you're going to be starting off on world record pace through the first 20 minutes every single time, which is pretty cool. But it's very, 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 very difficult to keep up with world record from that point on. But that was a really good mercenary segment. And the final mercenary, the boss mercenary, Derek, has been defeated, which will now open up the next part of the game. We have to go to a nightclub next to face another Kickstarter backer named Adam. That's a lot of money. We're going to be needing plenty of that throughout the rest of the run still. As we head to the nightclub, I will open up the floor for some donations and announcements. Alright, here we are at the nightclub roof, which is one of my favorite parts of the entire run. Let me show you why. Ah, this is a nice little view of the city. You're ruining my view! Get out of here! You too! And get off my head! And let's just go ahead and do this, and then over here. Anyway, let's fight the boss. Adam, we have some space to do the infinite combo here. It can be a little bit awkward because now the enemies are starting to have a lot more health, so we need space to actually be able to make the infinite combo infinite. I accidentally failed the infinite combo prevention sequence, and so that's the parry that they do whenever you fail the infinite combo prevention, or whenever you fail the workaround. But Adam is down, and now we have some rich kids here that came in via reinforcements. If you do the fight correctly, Adam will be defeated before they even touch the ground. But we failed the infinite combo there. I'm gonna collect some extra money and get knocked down by that attack that I really, really despise. That rolling punch. Okay, we only have $44 here. That is not very much. Okay, so that's a bit of a problem. We can only buy one of the items that I really want to get next on the way to the next part of the game, which is one of the most, again, climactic parts of the entire game. It is the Act 2 finale, and that's another donation, I guess. That table is a lot bigger than it looks. But yeah, we are headed to Merv Tower now after we buy a very indulgent RCRU. We have to buy River City Ransom Underground because it's one of the best items in the entire game. We're gonna hold on to it because I don't trust that my level ups are high enough to increase my maximum attack stat to the point that it will be having much effect on my strength. So let's try and get at least one more level up before I consume it. But we have a ways to go until we get to Merv Tower, so I'll open up the floor for more donations. Alright, thank you so much. And here we are at Merv Tower. This first room can be really difficult to fight in. This is one of the first... This is one of the first fights that really shows you that the game is not pulling its punches anymore. So we have a lot of the stronger enemies showing up all at the same time. They are not just fighting you one at a time anymore, like the enemies in Act 1 were. They are now surrounding you and trying to fight you at the same time, and they all have some of the bigger attacks, they all have some more power, and they're all smarter. So this is where things really start to increase in difficulty and become more dangerous and start to make it way less likely for things to go quickly. That, however, went really quickly. Why can I not collect this coin, though? That was weird. That went super, super well. And now we have a lift sequence, because that has to be in every single beat 'em up. But first, a very important part of this, we gotta get this fist bump. Oh man, he ran away. The run is dead. I'm just kidding, he does that no matter what. But we have to face 4 waves of enemies in this lift sequence, and as you can see, this is an open-ended stage. We have pits on either side, so whenever I want, I can just toss enemies off, which is what I do to try to complete this part as quickly as possible. I just try to get perfect sequences of knocking enemies down with my dash punch, and then just throw them off immediately. But for the purposes of this marathon run, I'm going to try to get some extra experience through that level up, very nice, and some extra money, so that I can buy as many safety items for increasing my health in a pinch as possible. But for the next enemies, the police officers, I am going to just knock all of them off the sides. How did I move there? Magic trick. But this is very basic, just using my dash punch to knock them down and then throw them off the edges. Very fun, very satisfying. And that's going to be the fight after this as well, so I'll open up the floor for more donations. Awesome, thank you so much. So, there's actually a lot of depth to this game in basically all of its mechanics, and one of them there, you saw that enemies, I can throw them normally before, if I pick them up and throw them quickly, it's just a normal throw. But whenever they get up, whenever I'm carrying them, then I will throw them way up into the air and they'll do a bunch of flips, and they'll bounce off of stuff. And so I had to try to wait for them to get up and then throw them from the middle of the screen to make sure they don't bounce off that thing on the top of the pulleys on the lifts. And now we've got a final wave here for the lift sequence. The mercenaries, they have a lot of money, so I'm gonna throw the first two guys off and then collect the money and experience of the next two. Very nice. Pretty good lift sequence there for my safe strategies. This has been a pretty clean and solid run so far, all things considered, aside from me running into a bunch of walls all over the place and getting knocked down a few times, but in this game, you're going to get knocked down. It's just going to happen, even when you're just trying to run through rooms. There are so many unreactable situations in this game. The AI can read you perfectly. It can just catch you off guard at any moment. But here we are entering Merv Tower, the main part of this very climactic part of the game. We just have some hallways to run through, and then we get to the main meat of this meat and potatoes, of the potatoes of this meat. Here we go. We got open windowed rooms here. The room is closed off. We have to beat all the enemies here, but also watch out. That is how serious Merv is about just annihilating us. And so we can use this area, this office space area, to block against the bullets. And there's a way to skip something in all of these rooms. So normally you have to wait for more enemies to come in, and one of them has a card key. You defeat them and collect the card key, but you can also just, whenever they enter, you can go through the door that they just opened. Beautiful. So satisfying. And we're gonna do that in this next room as well. You can do that in all of these. Oh my! Okay, so I was a little greedy there. So that's a good example of why you have to be super freaking careful in Merv Tower. I was a little greedy with going after the cops at the same time, and that's what happened. So that's an example of the enemies perfectly sandwiching you, and then if it happens at a bad time, you lose all of your HP at once. That is what can happen throughout the entire rest of the game. I can get one shot at any part of the rest of the game, basically. But we thankfully had access to a tutorial refill there. This game gives you a tutorial refill of your stamina and also a bit of tutorial willpower, which is secondary health. Hopefully everybody falls into the pit here. Ah, okay. We got saved by our tutorial stamina there, or else we would have died there and we would have had to redo this entire part of the game from even before. We would have had to run all the way back from Cindy's house, then fight everybody to get onto the lift, then do the lift sequence, and then get back through here. That would have cost us about 6 or 7 minutes. But here we are at the end of Merv Tower. It's not over yet, though. Because after Merv Tower is complete, we have two of the most important tricks of the entire run. The first of which was discovered before I picked up this game. It is a boss quick kill, which doesn't cost you a ton if you miss it unless the boss kills you, but is just... In River City Ransom, we have a joke where there's a certain boss fight that if you don't nail a frame-perfect input for, the run is invalid. That's basically how I feel about this boss quick kill. If I don't get it, then the run feels invalid, so I really want to get this quick kill, at least just for moral purposes. After that, there's a very important death warp, where if I do it early and fail it early, then it will not count as me having completed this part of the game, and I will have to redo the entirety of Merv Tower, like I said. From running from Cindy's house, doing the lift, doing all this over again, doing this cutscene again, and losing even more time than about 6 or 7 minutes. There's the boss, Wes. He's not satisfied with the fact that we have, in fact, saved Merv's beloved, his beautiful doggo. Also, our gang leader, Chris, is back. She's here now. But here we go. This is the quick kill. This is where so much of Merv Tower comes down to. The quick kill into the death warp. Let's do this. Okay, the game let it happen. Okay, we got it, kind of. Now I have to fall off of this, decrease all of my health. There's the tutorial willpower. Wait for a specific moment, then die there. I'm dead now. Oh no! But the game switches over into the next cutscene. You see that on the top left corner, it still has the dead symbol, but it is not automatically warping me to my last hideout. What's going on here? Yay, I'm alive! I'm a zombie! Let's get some money. That's very good money spawning. I can collect all of it here. And, oh, so I can't leave. It acts as a wall because I'm dead. So I'm gonna run into that wall. Okay, and we have to get back to Cindy's house. Oh! Yeah, that works. So we just saved about 2 minutes of running. That death warp is one of the last things that I discovered of the current world record strategies. I have labbed out this game so much, especially when I was running it, the main period of grinding in the summer of 2023. I turned this game upside down, inside out, just trying to look for every single possible thing, and I found a lot. But I've run out of things to find, it looks like. By the way, nothing special's happening in this cutscene, don't worry about it. And it's really nice to be able to show all this stuff off in a marathon run. Hopefully you're all enjoying so far. We are now in the third and final act of the game. This cutscene marks the third and final act. And things are about to get very, very, very intense. There's going to be a lot of running in the first part of this act. But you see, the enemies are going to look a little bit different here. Except for that one homeboy. There is a chance for some enemies to be normal, but most enemies are now these zombie robot things. They're all much stronger, much more aggressive, much more likely to block, much more likely to surround you, and worst of all, there is a new special enemy type that we haven't seen yet that is by far the worst and most obstructive and varied enemy in the game, those secret agents. We hope to not have to fight them as much as possible throughout the rest of the game, because they are nightmares. They block constantly, they have ranged projectiles that knock you down, and a lot of the time there's nothing you can really do about it. They interrupt you as you're fighting other people, they interrupt you as you're fighting them, they're unpredictable, they're powerful, it is just really, really bad. You can die. Oh my goodness, get out of here! Who put that there? This entire rest of the game is tough. Especially because we have not increased any stat except our attacking power. And this is happening now. Don't worry about this. This is something that you can chase this guy all the way to River City High School now, but you can do that until you're blue in the face over and over and over again. It does not matter until you've done a couple of required events that we are running to right now. We have another required cutscene at Roxy, at the auto shop, and then once that cutscene is done, it spawns a required boss at Chonwook Park. Nice moonwalk there. Only once we've defeated the boss at Chonwook Park can we then chase that that guy from the bridge all the way to River City High, and then it will actually mean something. But we've got to do this cutscene to activate the boss in Chonwook Park, and then we got to go fight him. For now, let's do some donations. Thank you so much, and that's really, really funny. So, we are in the end game here. We are an hour into the run, and we just activated the tutorial for blocking, because that was the first time in the entire game that we just blocked an attack. An enemy tried to hit us as we were running through the room. That's glorious. Now we're here at Chonwook Park. We have to clear out enemies here to spawn the next boss. And I can tell by listening that there are enemies stuck behind the building. So that's a bit annoying. We also got a reinforcement there. As long as nobody are agents, we're still not going to lose that much time. As long as they get to us eventually. There we go. That guy got unstuck. And we didn't have to fight any agents here. Very nice. So the one downside to not fighting agents here is that only agents give you money. And it'd be nice to be able to buy as many octopus rolls as possible once I go to my last visit to a shop. Regular enemies do have a chance to give you money, but it's a very low chance. We're only dealing 10 damage here, which is less than usual, but it should still be fine for our purposes. We are fighting me from Dad and Me, so we've got to beat me up. And there we go. He cooperated just fine. There's a level up. So now that I have a couple of extra level ups, I'm going to consume that RCRU and give myself some extra willpower. I'm going to do that. That was impressive. I'm pretty sure that was an aerial attack. I didn't even know that when he moved down off of that little ledge that it counted as him being in the air, but he basically did it the frame one that he was in the air. That was an unbelievable knockdown. By the way, we had to re-enter that shop because in Act 3 there's a chance that enemies spawn in the shop which prevent you from talking to the shopkeeper. So that's a quick way to just get rid of that. Got a couple of octopus rolls for safety and to be able to increase our attack power. But I'm probably going to hold on to them as much as I can because I want to be able to have safety HP for the end game because things from here on are only getting more and more and more and more dangerous. From this point on, basically every single boss can one-shot me unreactably. So in that case, having healing items doesn't really matter because if you get one shot, you don't have a chance to heal. But it still feels better to have healing items, and just in case I do have a chance to get away from some damage and I am low on health, it's just better for a marathon, makes more sense. So we should be somewhat safe. I'll feel a lot better once I actually get into the high school, because there will be a way for me to do a quick little saving point so I don't have to do this entire run from Roxy all the way back to the high school again. If I die to the next boss, then that will exactly be what I have to do. So let's just get through this part. No agents? Dang it. Okay, so I'm going to show you my first agent fight here. Let's try and get through these enemies without issue. They're being very, very unpredictable. That's an ominous start. Okay, he got in the air. Excellent. Okay, so the agent... Wow. I was surrounded by a wall of people wanting to grab me like there's no tomorrow. They just want to give me a hug. Oh, I got late reinforcements and one of them is an agent. So unlucky. There's a great example of terrible reinforcement. Where is he going? I can't go to the left of him because I would leave the room and have to redo the entire thing. He knows exactly what I don't want. And so he's hugging the left side, refusing to give me any proper space. The AI in this game is so smart and so bad for speedrunning most of the time. Alright, we've got a terrifying slick fight here. Okay, that's the move that he could have done when he was on the roof that would have immediately put him inside the pit. That was why I was staying on the left side of him. And now he's doing nothing but that. Okay, that's preferable to him summoning a giant, like earthbending, summoning two walls, and then insta-killing me. I will take that. For some reason, I'm only dealing 11 damage here, even though I waited for several level ups. The RCRU, I thought, usually increases your damage output by 2. But not this time, so we're not dealing much damage for the end game here. All of the fights are going to take a bit longer, but I still want to hold on to my Everybody wants to give me a hug! The enemies are just so excited for this speedrun. Wow. You know what? I accept this energy. I hope that it's contagious. Now we gotta go to the Hall B floor to face our next people. I'm going to immediately head into a hideout here. The classroom from the beginning of the game. This is now the place that I will respawn if I die. So, if I get killed by the gang fight here, not the gang fight, the regular enemy fight, or the boss fight, which is more likely, which has happened to me before during marathon runs, then I will spawn right here and just be able to come right back out and start again. The enemies are so aggressive right now. what can I do other than compliment them and have my health go low? That feel when you have your health go low because enemies are like, get out of here. That guy's one hit away. Yes, he is. There's a level up. That increases your health automatically, which is very nice. Now, the fight against Proto. So I can technically knock him onto the ground and pick him up and throw him, but I think it's a frame-perfect window, and sometimes it still doesn't work. So it's possible to do the infinite aerial combo here, but I'm just going to play it normally here and just try and bird kick him across the room. It's... oh my goodness. Yeah, nice little slap there. So he has moves from all kinds of different characters in this game. We've got a very, like, sciencey and experimenty flavor to this end boss, end game area. And Proto is an example of that. And we're going to be seeing a lot of that as we enter the final area. Club Bloom! And we can skip a cutscene here. Hi, Chris. Bye, Chris. And now we're in the final area. This is the point of no return. This is also the point of no saving. So if we make it all the way to the end of the game and then die, you guessed it, we have to do this entire thing again. River City Ransom Underground has a lot of that. Let's do these waves of enemies here. That starts with a carefully timed Stone Hands, and then juggle. I missed the juggle, but that's okay, I can pick him up. And that agent is taken care of. I'm just going to be super safe there because you'll notice, especially in the last wave that we have to do here, agents can flash red when they're low on health. If they flash red for too long before you take them out, then they will split into two agents. And now, hello Celine, bye Celine. Thank you Celine for blessing my run. And if you have more agents to deal with, that stinks, because agents stink. Period. Speaking of two agents, hello two agents, but we can use the Stone Hands to get them in the air. I somehow didn't deal enough damage to that guy, so let's not panic. There he goes. Okay, they're usually only a hit or two away whenever they're flashing red, but it can still be a huge problem. Oh, you don't want to fist pump me? You don't want to fist bump me when you're melting? So rude. Alright, the last wave that we have to do here, there are going to be 4 agents that appear out of this door. All of them will be in flashing mode. So we could potentially have 8 agents on our hands really fast if we don't do this right. Here we go. Alright, just make sure that we got them all. Very nice. There we go. Alright, we got a lot of money here that we can't really do anything with because this is the end point that we can't escape from unless we die. So, we've finished the second lift segment because you gotta have even more lifts if your beat 'em up is long enough. And we head into the main body of the final base. Are we all ready? Let's do this! The final gauntlet. Starting off with a very, very difficult bit of platforming. If I run into the wall here, I'll have to donate even more money. This is really tough. I hate my life. Okay, let's keep going. And now we've got some gauntlet rooms with 4 agents and gimmicks. In this room, we have 2 turrets that are going to be shooting at everybody the entire time. And the agents are going to be shooting whenever they're out of range. So we're going to have projectiles all over the place, and 4 agents trying to fight us at the same time. Ow. And you see they're very powerful, they're unpredictable, and they are very good at getting away from you. There's one of their projectiles coming at a really bad time. They love to wait until you are in a very good situation with another enemy, and then they interrupt you at the worst time. That guy blocked me, preventing me from assailing that agent when he was in the air. This is very trolly so far, but that's what this game is, especially agents. Oh my god, they are preventing me from getting this guy perfectly. Okay, we got him. Goodness gracious, this freaking game. Freaking Kunio games. So, this is where things get really, really, really tense. All the way through. Basically from the mid-game on, things are tense and sweaty, especially in a marathon run. But no more so than in this final area. So that lets us leave here, and then the very next place we have to stop and fight is way worse. So how about 4 agents with periodic lasers? Thankfully, they can make fighting the agents a bit easier. Like, it's give and take, because obviously they're terrible to, like, give you fighting space, but you also see they constantly immediately send the agents into midair, so I can just focus on them like that. So in a way, this can be slightly it's also a bit janky, because whenever they're in the middle of their death animations, they still have a chance to be hit by the lasers. So they can be basically at the very end of melting, and then the lasers will save them. And I think that, like, look at this. Because his slime happened to be in the middle of the laser area, it revived him for a moment and cost me time for no reason. Isn't that beautiful? The beauty of life. All right, here we go. Dr. D, the final boss, right? Let's just punch him because we can. What if I just... So you're not supposed to be fighting him here, but the game shows you the damage values and it lets you do this. So during this run, I was trying to see if there was any special way to like skip the end of the game by defeating him here, but I do not know if he actually has a health bar here. So I was doing a little bit of labbing during this run, and I just eventually gave up. It's like, I'm just losing time for no reason, but it's still fun. It's fun to just smack somebody around over and over in a Kunio game. What can I say? Speaking of smacking something over and over and over, now what you're supposed to do here is just hit this computer thing until it no longer operates. And the entire time, you have 4 enemies coming after you. Okay, we got it. He wanted to come with me! I'm sorry, I work alone. Alright, and now we're heading to the final main confrontation here. Got a bit of platforming in this next room with enemies coming after me. Conveyor belts. Bottomless pits, oh my. Should be okay. One last room. And then the last place that I have a decent chance of dying. And if we die here, yep, we gotta start all over again from the long lift section. We got 2 agents here, unfortunately. I don't know how I didn't get hit by that. We got, scratch that, we got 3 agents here. Alright, this could be a problem. Okay, he jumped on me. The other agent isn't hitting me yet. 4 agents! Scratch that. Okay, now down to 3 again. So really bad luck with getting agents and the reinforcements. But let's there we go. That's amazing. We got them both in the air at the same time. Alright, sometimes agent fights can go just fine. That is how you do it. And once we collect all the remaining money and we hopefully don't get any more reinforcements, here we go. Dr. D. He's gonna teleport a few times, and now the fight begins. So, I'm only dealing 11 damage here, not very good. This is gonna be a bit of a longer fight, and it's gonna force me to be as good as possible with my infinite combo. Let's do this. Oh, shoot, I was a little late. And he can do frame 1 massive AoE attacks. And if he starts into comboing you, you're gonna lose all of your health immediately. I have died to this guy before in a marathon run, in an actual event. I'm gonna wait for him there, just try and play it safe. Thankfully, he went airborne. Okay, he was in a bit of an awkward position there. Now he's on the right side of the... Oh, okay, I did the wrong move there. He was gonna be... I couldn't continue it. Anyway, okay, I can't believe I got out of that combo. I forgot the sequence, and I'm gonna pay for it! That was a bad mistake. He got up really fast there, but I grabbed him! That's a unique way to take him out. We did it! We have defeated Dr. D. Come on, man, just one fist bump for the road. Nobody else wants to do it. Come on! Whatever. Nobody in this town is cool. So, you guessed it, we have to do an escape sequence, because why not? Let's jump on the dinosaur. Aw. Okay, let's keep going. So, you guessed it, if we fail to escape in time, we gotta do the entire thing over again. All the enemies are gonna be on high alert coming after us the entire time. We got some new hazards in the way. And we have to go through those gimmicky rooms again. So here we go with the laser room. I'm going to gun it here. I'm going to play it risky. Go! We made it. Okay. The lasers have random timings sometimes. Like, I made it through that time, but it doesn't mean I'm gonna make it through every time. We've been stopped here because you can't just have one final boss form. Thankfully, this one is completely stun-lockable into an infinite death spiral. And it's really easy. So the final form of Dr. D is so trivial. Let's just read some donations and announcements. Perfect timing! Thank you so much! Come on, man! One fist bump! A melting face doesn't want to give me a fist bump? Oh, come on. Okay, now a very scary room here. Those are terrible spawns! Okay, now we got to avoid some people that are on fire. We can get infinitely stun-locked by them, just if we get unlucky. Thankfully, that did not happen. Last room of the game! Come on, give me some fist bumps! Come on! Yes, the running fist bump! Incredible technique! And time! That is River City Ransom Underground. In less than 1 hour and 12 minutes. We did it! Deathless! We did not drop the milk a single time. We got through Merv Tower first try. We got through the endgame first try. We ran into a heck of a lot of walls along the way, and we got knocked down like our lives depended on it. But that is Kunio games. That is River City Ransom Underground in a nutshell. You cannot control these games. They do whatever the heck they want, and you just gotta be along for the ride. Bobo and Misuzu having a moment. Oh, Bobo have romantic dinner reservations. You go, Bobo. Lovely. We've done it. Thanks to Alex and Ryan's help, the gang was able to put an end to Slick and Dr. D's evil clone army. Because we all saw that coming, right? Alas, nobody became honor students. So bleak. So, that is the long story campaign of River City Ransom Underground. With a lot of tricks, a lot of huge tension. The game, even more so than it showed, can just annihilate me at any moment from full health bar to 0. And there were a couple of moments that I was saved by a couple of different elements. Like, in Merv Tower, I thankfully still had access to my tutorial stamina when I got just bodied by the cops, just basically thrusting me into the line of fire of the fighter jet. That was special. Shoutouts to everybody who worked on this game. Again, you all got so much crap for things that were all out of your control. Thank you for bringing this game to us so that I can be able to share it with the world like this. And for those of you watching this, if you made it this far, watching the entire thing, I salute you. Thank you so much. I really hope you enjoyed that, and I hope that you find that this game could have a suitable place in your event. It's a dream of mine to be able to show the thrills and just live out all the anxiety of this run with everybody on a big stage. So thank you for considering me for that. And I wish all of you the best that life has to offer. If you have any questions about this, feel free to contact me with provided contact mediums. I already said that in the intro, but still. And shoutouts to a few people. Deadlock is 84 or 87. It's been a while. I'm so sorry. And Nice, or Nice, the original runners of this game, who already had found a lot of things, like the West Quick Kill, and a lot of the proper routing and some of the cutscene skips and all that stuff, doing a great job before I ever touched this game, even casually, properly. Shoutouts to all of you, great work, and thank you to my community, thank you everybody, and have a beautiful one. Dream on, folks. Peace. Take care.